Hi there. I hope all is well. This is Benita Williams. I'm the author of The Sustainable CEO and also the creator of the Divine Overflow Sequence. I hope the last video blessed you, and I'm getting ready to share the next step 2 in the Divine Overflow Sequence. Today, we're going to be talking about provision. Provision. So if you remember in the last video, we talked about posture and really talking about your heart posture and being surrendered to the will of God. That's really what it's about. Well, after you surrender, after your heart is postured towards the will of God, then comes provision. Then comes provision. Okay. And so when I say provision, I'm not just merely talking about, just resources or, capital gains and things like that. I'm really talking about provision as a function of proximity to purpose. Okay. Provision is a function of proximity to purpose. At this level, capital is no longer the constraint. So before, while you were building, you were in your different phases, you relied on capital a lot, right? Capital was really, really important. But at this level, it's not about capital because, to be honest, you have the money, you have the resources, you have the capital, right? What it's about at this level is really about clarity. Okay, it's really about clarity. So CEOs who move in alignment CEOs who move in alignment with divine intention experience supernatural funding and favor beyond the forecasted projections. So we're not talking about, like I said, your numbers and your forecast or whatever. We're talking about tapping into the supernatural funding, the supernatural overflow of God. And how do you do that? How do you um, receive something that was unplanned, right? How do you receive something that you wasn't even expecting? That's the supernatural funding. That's the supernatural overflow of God. And so the way that you do that is provision is a function of proximity to purpose. Because you have said yes, you have yielded, you've surrendered, you have the heart posture to say yes to God's will for your life and business. Now he's going to provide for you supernaturally because it's about provision is a function of proximity to purpose. It's about your purpose. Okay. And God's going to make sure that all of the resources are there for that purpose, for that purpose. So again, this is step 2 in the Divine Overflow Sequence. If you'd like to skip ahead a little bit and kind of learn more about it, I dive deeper in the Sustainable CEO. So grab your copy. I will make sure the link is below. And until next time, take care. Have a good one.